I am just sort of a sacrificial lamb, for people that are just looking to create a false story to tear down the Trump campaign.
You can say, yeah, I had a meeting. It doesn't mean that.
Well, it's exactly like you just said to me. It was not a meeting. Our thing in our health club.
So you're saying
we
you
said
didn't
hello,
speak to the Russian ambassador for more than 10 seconds?
Never more than. Again, I don't want to talk specifics, but I can assure you I've never spoken with Ambassador Kislyak more than 10 seconds. Yeah, that's a safe statement.
Okay.
Again, I would not be talking about this if there weren't leakers.
Right. It's already been reported out there. There is confusion. The next day, you tell the New York Times you've been sending policy papers to the campaign. Then August 24, who have been
not
to rallies.
Hundreds. I mean, not. I've been in smaller
No.
rallies
I'm saying
and meetings
the hundreds or tens of thousands.
I've been in smaller ones as well. But
what's the smallest? I mean, have you actually been?
As had been stated, an informal, unpaid advisor.
Okay.
So, I mean, listen, it's just a big distraction from the real lies that are out there, which is kind of going back to the point you were talking about with the sanctions, et cetera.
I mean, what happened? The campaign far back as in March.
I never met Jason Miller. I think he joined kind of midsummer and was.
So did you actually write?
I don't like talking about specifics of.
Because you did say. I mean, you told the New York Times you did on March 25th. So I'm just trying to. You said
that's fair enough. Yeah. Yes.
Can you say who you sent policy papers to?
I don't. I don't talk about internal matters.
But I mean, they are talking about internal matters, saying you were not part of the campaign at all.
Well, I'm not surprised that he didn't know me because he was there until he came over from Ted Cruz's
campaign. Right, but we saw part of it.
It's his red herring technique where let's throw in
that's why
these
we wanted to clarify it with you and what was in that dossier.
There's nothing to ask Anderson because it's everything about me is completely false and just so inaccurate.
Or who made. And were
members
those
of faculty
conversations about sanctions, about.
It's a joke.
Former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. Carter, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Having me, Jay.
Then Trump campaign advisor and Senator Jeff Sessions, that you were going to Russia in July trip to Russia other than Jeff Sessions.
That mention, which was the big headline yesterday, was a brief comment as we were walking towards the elevator after having a dinner together.
And so it was such a nothing event. And
as you correctly noted, I mentioned that I'm heading over there, and totally unrelated to the campaign. So I actually had it was a meeting or a dinner that was set up sort of at the last minute, and I ended up changing around my schedule because I was just getting ready to go in a couple of days. Self and others.
Christopher Steele.
I didn't know who it was until it was revealed in January, but I got word in September, before the Dodgy Dossier world premiere starts attacking me.
Right. So when you...
Over a decade, yeah.
Now, I'm not accusing you of anything, but we know that in spy stagecraft, as ways to get to people. Is there anyone that you met that may have been a cutout, as far as you know?
My only experience with cutouts, as far as definitive U.S. government, ongoing investigation.
But you wouldn't say that they've been very professional unless...
I wouldn't even talk,
unless you know of something that they didn't leak.
I'm saying they are very professional in the sense that they're not leaking all the time, as I'm walking out at 5 p.m., all of the information from our meeting is already out on the street.
You have met with them, and they didn't have... You have met with the Mueller team.
I have no comment. Again, I had no comment about my March meetings with the FBI. And let me tell you,
you think he's innocent of that?
I think that it's interesting with the Russian government, all of the Russian RT and Sputnik, the information in there, at least about myself, was infinitely more accurate than all of them. Well, it's infinite. All I know is that it's infinitely more accurate than everything in that dossier.
That's just a way of evading my question. Is it a propaganda arm, RT?
I think it's less of it's equally propagandistic, or less propagandistic than Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, which in September and again in November was just repeating the Dodgy Dossier.
I get the feeling from what you're saying, from what
Americans hear the name Vladimir Putin, and they too critical could wind up
at a university there. Exactly. So it was the week after you'd been. try to weaken the Mueller investigation?
I see no connection with it. You know, he always said, we're looking out for the forgotten man. And, you know, I've always been looking to just kind of get justice in terms